Hello and welcome back to EU Decoded, the podcast by the EPP Group in the European Parliament. This week, global politics took centre stage in Strasbourg, with MEPs weighing in on the fragile Middle East peace deal, an envisaged Trump-Putin meeting in Budapest, and Europe's decisive push to cut off Russian fossil fuels once and for all. What does it all mean for Europe's security, its energy independence, and its role in a changing world? Let's decode it. The recent Israel-Hamas peace deal has captured global attention. It's a hopeful first step towards ending the conflict. But as MEP David McAllister warned, hope alone won't sustain peace, especially with so many actors determined to sabotage it.
What the region needs now is our engagement, and what the European Union must offer is a united Middle East strategy. We ought to focus our energy where Europe can make a real difference. Let us work with regional partners to reinforce and deliver humanitarian aid as quickly as possible. Let us support key regional actors, the United States, the Gulf states and Israel's Arab neighbours in securing the ceasefire.
The European Union is expected to play a key stabilising role following the ceasefire. While the US, Egypt and Qatar brokered the deal, the EU brings financial resources, diplomatic reach and credibility, essential to sustain peace and drive reconstruction. The Gaza peace plan deserves Europe's full support, not because it will be easy, but because peace never is.
Let us counter those who thrive on instability, for example Iran, and ensure that opponents to peace cannot derail it. Let us keep the prospect of a negotiated two-state solution alive, however distant it may seem today. And above all, let us resist the temptation to divide ourselves further. We must focus on the common denominator that unites us, our unwavering commitment to peace.
This unwavering commitment to peace must also extend to the war in Ukraine. For a brief moment, attention turned to Budapest, a city which was envisaged to host Trump-Putin summit next week. The plan faded after a phone call between the US Secretary of State and Russia's foreign minister. The EPP Group has made its position clear. It will never accept any legal transfer of Ukrainian territory to Russia, and as MEP Michael Gahler reminds us, nothing should ever be decided about Ukraine without Ukraine at the table.
What has been said thus far by the Council and the Commission, I fully subscribe. The big majority of this Parliament fully subscribes. And it is indeed about a just and durable peace for Ukraine, as the title says, and nothing will be decided about Ukraine without Ukraine.
Meanwhile, the EPP Group is pushing to end all gas and oil imports from Russia by the 1st of January 2027, reinforcing Europe's energy independence and closing loopholes that allow indirect imports. MEP Inese Vaidere, the Parliament's negotiator on these new rules, says that cutting dependence on Russian fossil fuels will make Europe stronger, safer and more independent.
Since the beginning of Russia's aggression in Ukraine, European countries have paid for Russia's fossil fuels more than 210 billion euros. It's approximately the same what Russia has paid for its war. And unfortunately, it's less than we, European Union countries, have paid as a help for Ukraine. This must be stopped. This is our moral duty. And after this, Europe will be safer, Europe will be more independent. We have to stop buying Russian oil and gas and fueling Russian war machine.
After 5 years in Lukashenko's prison, Sergei Tikhanovsky was finally released in June this year. Together with his wife Sviatlana, who became the leader of the Belarusian opposition during his imprisonment, he addressed the European Parliament. Their appearance comes 5 years after the stolen presidential election that entrenched Alexander Lukashenko's dictatorship in Belarus.
My message is simple. Europe not only needs to become an active player, Europe needs to become an active player in Belarus. Lukashenko is cunning survivor, but he is not immortal. The transfer of power in Belarus is imminent. Here is the reality. Since 2020, the people of Belarus have not accepted the dictator. They did not love him back. They did not revolt because they are simply being wise, careful, and realistic. They understand that without any real allies, we are fighting a losing battle. We, the Belarusian democratic movement, have a plan how to become the next Finland of Eastern Europe. You have the tools, resources, and the strength to make it real. It's your call now, Europe. Don't let us down, not like the last time.
The EPP Group stands firmly with the people of Belarus. It does not recognise Lukashenko as a legitimate leader, condemns the regime's crimes and continues to call for the release of all political prisoners. This plenary week was also marked by an important vote. At the initiative of the EPP Group, the European Parliament rejected the proposed forest monitoring law. Why? Because forests cannot be protected by drowning them in bureaucracy. Alexander Bernhuber, the EPP Group's negotiator in the Parliament's Environment Committee, explains why the proposal raised serious concerns.
Especially when we take a look to the details and we know that member states already have, in 24 of 27 member states, a really good working forest monitoring system, we really question mark why we need it at European level.
With this vote, the EPP Group stood up for foresters, rangers, farmers and for the environment by protecting them from unnecessary paperwork. While forest protection is essential, excessive red tape can undermine the very goals of conservation. MEP Stefan Kohler, the EPP Group's negotiator in the Parliament's Agriculture Committee, stressed that forest health is a shared responsibility, but how forests are managed must remain a decision for each member state, not the European Commission.
We want better regulation, not more regulation. We want 25% less bureaucracy. We need to be strict and should not hesitate to stop entire proposals. We promised our voters less bureaucracy and we delivered.
The EPP Group remains fully dedicated to protecting Europe's forests through practical, results-oriented measures. The goal is clear: make the Green Deal achievable by empowering national governments and giving foresters the freedom to do what they do best: protect and preserve Europe's forests. And before we wrap up, we pause once again to honour the memory of Daphne Caruana Galizia. Before her assassination by a car bomb in October 2017, Daphne, a courageous investigative journalist, exposed corruption at the highest levels of power, including within the office of the Prime Minister of Malta. 8 years later, the questions she raised remain unanswered. Daphne's legacy continues to inspire the EPP Group's fight for truth, justice, and press freedom. That's why the group warmly welcomes the news of this year's winners of the European Parliament's Sakharov Prize for Freedom of Thought: imprisoned journalist Andrei Pochobut from Belarus and Mzir Amaglobeli from Georgia. Together, they stand on two fronts of the same struggle: the defence of truth, dignity and free expression against Kremlin-backed repression. Honouring Pochobut and Amaglobeli is more than a tribute. It's a statement of solidarity with all who risk their freedom to defend democracy and the values on which Europe stands. And that's all for this week on EU Decoded, the podcast by the EPP Group in the European Parliament. From the fragile peace in the Middle East to Europe's determination to end its energy dependence on Russia, one message is clear: peace, freedom and security must be defended with action, not just words. Stay tuned, follow the EPP Group on all social platforms and join us next time as we continue to decode Europe's biggest debates and decisions. Thanks for listening.